Good morning, everybody. Gold Investment Letter. This is Eric Mashinsky, your editor. And editor doesn't really fit me, guys. I'm an investor, speculator, trader, and all around lover of the capital markets and the lessons that I've learned that have tripped me up, cost me millions of dollars, and that finally, over time, I've learned from a lot of those mistakes and can hopefully do several things for those of you listening to me right now. I am not planning on being like any other source of information for you guys that are now, there's plenty of new free GIL subscribers. I started this newsletter in 2011 at the top of the bull market when gold was first testing that 2000 level, and then had an over 4-year grinding bear market that I built the Gold Investment Letter through. And I'm super grateful for that because I still have on the elite level, premium level, and free level, many people that have been with me for over a decade. And I really appreciate you guys. There's some of you that, anytime we've had like commentary on videos or this or that, it's fine. We have a fairly big presence now online, but I just want to say that for those of you that ask me about the same damn stocks from 2015 that are down for you, you probably just want to move on. I think you probably want to move on from me. Or here's a thought. Give me and yourself a break. Hit the fucking reset button because we all need to do that right now and determine what's best going forward because there is a monstrous opportunity ahead of us. Those of you that are here and have been in the gold market or you consider yourself a gold bug and you've been holding on to your gold stocks for years and years and you're used to losing money in the markets, I would really encourage you guys. Seriously, I'm here to try to help. I'm not here to give anybody additional issues in life. You got plenty of those, everybody, I'm sure, as I do. But the reality is that I talk about this a lot. I talk about investor psychology a lot, and I will continue to do it because it's what I see as being the biggest key and the biggest source of mistakes from people. I had 2 calls with premium members that had been around since prior to 2016. I started offering one-on-ones about a month ago, just for people that had been with me for years, even when I was sick and when, stocks were down or whatever, and they've continued to be loyal. And so just as a small gesture, I asked my assistant, Erica, to start putting one-on-ones on the books with these folks. And I really want to, thank everybody who's been joining the one-on-one Zooms and who have been sticking around. You know who you are. I'm going to work my way through that list and touch base with all of you one-on-one that have been around probably pre-2018, 19. Call it 5 years. I'll get to you on one-on-ones, and then we'll have opportunities in the premium and elite area. Elites always get to talk to me whenever. Just text me and call me, and you got my cell phone. By the way, elite members, the deal that I've been talking about, the placement, we should have documents ready by tomorrow. Boy, is it a juicy one. That is what people do when they hire me for the elite service. We get deal flow with long-term warrants, discounts, and some other things that elite members get that nobody else does. And then premium members are it's a very robust service. Some of you, when you start to see this sector come to life, just know that we can make up some serious ground fast. And I don't know that there's anybody that I've seen out there who gets as aggressive as I do in pyramiding profits to make up for time, particularly with my premium members. And I'm going to do that here at the free e-letter as well, just not quite as often, and there's not going to be as many ideas. And if you're a decent sized investor, even a small investor, paying the 1 year, I just think the key is the timing right now. I want to give you that one example about the investor psychology thing in a moment, but the key is timing in the sense that, we have this thing called recency bias. It subconsciously and subtly affects all of us unless we shake ourselves awake and say, okay, look at this chart that's up here now. This is the most important chart that we need to be mindful of as gold investors. And that is that we've had this, I've been talking about it for a long time, guys. You know that this quadruple top breakout above 2100. Wow. This is huge, because we're going back all the way to 11. All right, when this newsletter was launched was right here. So, I don't know that I bought any gold here. I was active down and below, but we've survived. We've gotten through what has been a very crazy bad. This was a brutal market going into early 16. That was probably, I would say it's the second worst for junior mining companies compared to today, believe it or not. There are so many bargains. The value that I see in junior mining companies where you can buy ounces in the ground for a certain multiple, discounts to NAV on projects that you're just not going to find around every street corner. This goes for gold, silver, primarily those two entities, because I think you want to make sure you're locked in on your precious metals mining stocks, and certainly the juniors that we feature, some that you find on your own if you like them. Make sure that you're deploying capital right now, because this is the physical gold price, and it does not reflect at all what's been happening in the mining stocks, and neither does even GDXJ, because those are over $1 billion market cap companies. The ones that I'm most excited about are these little tiny beauties that are like sub 10 million market cap, with assets that have been being worked on and spending money on for decades, and they've got millions of ounces of gold in 43-101 categories, et cetera. But what I wanted to bring up with the psychology part of it, guys, is this. One of the things that I try to do effectively for you is delve into the framework that I use for how to take profits when I take profits. I have this third model that we talk about a lot, that I book automatically, premium members, model portfolio. These are the type of things that when we get our multiple 5, 10, 20, 50 baggers in this bull cycle, which we will again. I've had many of them in the past, and I'm well overdue for a new, fresh 20 bagger. I can tell you that much. So, but the reality is that a lot of people, and this is one of the things I'll share with you guys that is of great value to me in this newsletter, is a lot of times there are people that just simply are emotionally a mess and upside down. I have two of the calls that I had this week, both in one day, back to back, two guys that are awesome, very smart. One of them's known me since I was his broker back in the early 2000s. Both of them had brought up sitting on this stock. They're still long the stock. I got out of this thing a long time ago, but I brought we were going into COVID, and I found a special situation during this bar right here. It was 65 cents, 61 cents. I've dug up the records. It's on the portfolio, the master portfolio, that this was officially recommended at 61 cents. Okay. So this is Sona. This had to do with COVID. It was exploiting COVID, if you will. I'm just doing a division. So check this out. Sona went up 26-fold in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. I have two people that I talked to in the same day that are my premium members that are down, and one of them's down over 90%. How the fuck does that happen? Why am I bringing it up, and why am I swearing? There's nothing that disturbs me more than when people that are in my sphere of influence, or my friends, or people I actually do care about, anybody here who's listening to me and giving your time as currency to what I have to say, but especially those that have been supporting and loyal to me forever. Why do you have something like this in your portfolio? How is it possible? I mean, it's back to 33 cents, but that means you must have bought this candle here or something. And I always have buy up to prices. And we made a freaking fortune. Part of what I took in the Sona trade, I put it to crypto, and then I made 100x on that. So bottom line, though, is this. There are results all over the board with whatever I've done, with whomever I've done it with. A lot of it depends on your own disciplines. And one of the things that I would say that you want to recognize right now is that we are in very likely, very, very likely that gold price is key. The third party buyers on some of the junior miners is key that we're seeing with volume. We're in a new bull cycle. We're going into a new bull cycle with prices as low as they are, you can throw a dart. A lot of you guys talking about, Bravada was one that we covered. Let me do this. I'm going to go through a couple of our bigger names that I've talked about a lot here in the free letter. I'm going to talk about McEwen Mining, Giga, and Phenom today. Look at their charts and give you a quick update on my thoughts, because those are the three biggest positions that I have and that I've shared with everybody. But Bravada Gold, this one, also, you guys have to realize this is a situation where when I first got involved in Bravada, it was in August of 15. So it was at 3 cents. And when I got the members in initially, certainly the premium members in January, February of 16, when things started to take off, we started buying it at 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 cents, and it went to 40. Quickly. There were opportunities to take all of your principal risk off and then some, but I know it's been a pile of shit ever since. And if you hold Bravada because of something I talked about in here, and you're just going to blame me for the rest of your life that you're down in Bravada, go take a look in the mirror, my friend. You're the one choosing to hold on to this thing. And frankly, Bravada just made a big mistake. I'm going to mention this. The stock is very cheap. It's a gold play. It's a junior gold play in Nevada that I think is going to go higher from here, but it's going to have a tough time going above 10 to 15 cents. And I talked to the CEO about this, but these guys decided very much against my suggestion when they go ahead and extended 34 million warrants at a dime. I told them that the reason I wasn't going in deeper is because of all the warrants sitting out there between 10 and 15 cents. It would take frickin' Mike Tyson 5 years to chip through that stock that's going to come in, that's going to go into conversion of the warrants to get it above that price. Now they end up, I think they let a small amount roll off, and now they're extending 35 million. I'm sorry, but Bravada, you've gone off of my list. I may talk about it occasionally because so many of us own it. I own like 1.4 million shares, and I'm giving you all the opportunity first. This activity, these companies that are extending warrants, and guess whose warrants they extended? Mine. I'm not trying to be exclusive, but you got to tighten up your capital structures if you want us to come into these deals to get big returns. And if you've got so many freaking outstanding warrants and all you're thinking about is the money that can come in the door, and you've got 250, 300 million shares outstanding at that point, and you're stuck at 11 cents because every time it goes to 12 or 13, you have 35 million shares getting sold to go ahead and exercise a warrant. I'm sorry, not interested anymore. So that's my thought on Bravada and any other companies that are going to do this. By the way, if you're going to continue to extend huge slugs of warrants that are going to be in the way of your market in a bull market, I have plenty of other better opportunities to focus on. McEwen Mining has been a beast since late February. The stock has gone from, it's doubled, $6 to $12. One quick second. As you know, this is a stock that it had also performed poorly over the years for a while, but has really come back to life. And since late 22, let's look at it. Late 2022 is when I was most vocal about tripling down, doubling down, buying some, buying more. How have we done since then? Look, the stock is basically tripled, quadrupled. So anybody who was still in the game, still open-minded, still planting seeds, we got some cheap stock on the books, and we're looking good. And I think, McEwen is going to be a leader in this cycle. I did an interview with Rob McEwen on Real Vision that's excellent, frankly, just because of all the information that he gave about his story. But in the second part, we talked about the value of McEwen Mining. And two things I'll point out. of why I think this is going a lot higher. Rob's personal cost average is over $20 a share US. That means that he's put in over $225 million that he's literally written checks for, or call it wires, um, to buy into his ownership. He takes $1 a year salary. I don't believe he takes any options. He just runs the company, and he bought into his position, and he has to get an 80% move from here to be break even. Who does that in our industry? Anybody who's criticized Robert McEwen with this type of a way that he runs his life and his business, you can go fuck yourself. Get off of this list. All these Vancouver lifestyle people, running 3, 4 companies, taking salaries, never owning anything in their companies. That's the quintessential problem in this business. Rob is an example of somebody that I don't even care if I, make a ton of money with McEwen Mining. I'm going to support entrepreneurs like this that put themselves out there, that really are owners. That's what his business card says. Look at his title on the website, Chief Owner. He's the biggest shareholder in the company, and he's proud of it. So we've got to get back to 20 for his actual cost average to even be fulfilled, much less make any money. And we went through in the video how the value of McEwen copper, uh, when you put that out there and you take McEwen Mining's ownership of it and where the valuations have been going off, I mean, these valuations on McEwen copper are getting close to $1 billion. And you look at the value of McEwen Mining, there's really no value, or at least there wasn't a few weeks ago. Now there's a little bit, not really any value towards their whole gold mining operation business. And that includes several mines, includes tons of exploration projects. And now we saw part of the thing with this popping was right after that interview, the second interview when that went out, talking about the value there. But at the same time, they also put out 2023 results, which was a big flip. The year prior lost over $1 a share. 2023, they got a handle on operations and costs. They earned over $1 a share. So Mux remains, it is my second largest position because of how far it's gone up. It's beaten Giga, even though I continue to buy Giga. I believe that we've seen the lows in nickel. I was wrong on nickel in terms of how low it would go in its correction. It went lower than I expected. It didn't stay down there very long, but it doesn't matter. It was the reason why we had the underperformance in the Giga. Now, if you bought Giga a lot earlier and you don't continue to accumulate when it gets cheap, I don't understand it. Like, the only reason you wouldn't do that, nothing's changed with Turnagain in the asset. You're not going to find assets like this around the corner, folks. This is one of, if not the biggest no-brainer that I know for me personally, and the millions of shares that I've acquired, and I have a lot higher cost average, but I bought all through here. I've been buying every single week for months and months and months. I started putting money, to work when I was taking money out of crypto in late 21. Those were purchases done over 40 cents and in the high 30s. I got into early with a lot of those purchases for about a year. Some of you followed me into that. Some of you whine and bitch and cry and need to call your mother, okay? And ask her what happened to you when you were a child. Others of us realize there's an opportunity here, and it's a big one. This is one of the biggest no-brainers I've ever seen to make 5 to 10 times my money from this price. I like this action. We have to get past the 200-day moving average, so we might see some real resistance around 21 cents. So if it rolls over here, we'll keep that in mind, and you probably have a little more time to buy some cheap stock. And maybe there's a chance it could retest the lows. I doubt it. Look at the monthly on Giga. I like this. Last month, we saw the wick and an upward close. I see that as very likely being the bottom. Look what's happened with Giga before when it's had these big downtimes. It has gone up, back in 17, the thing went from 6 cents to, let's see, 6 cents to $1 in in 3 months, not even 3 months. This time it went from 17 cents to almost 244. That was on a false rumor. Look at that volume though. What happens when one of the false rumors becomes a real rumor that actually becomes news? We've already got Mitsubishi guys. They validated this asset and they paid a $53 million Canadian valuation to buy into a subco of a 15% interest for 8 million Canadian. That's a big deal. Now the group there is on to the next. They're on to the next of who are they going to bring in and what is the valuation going to be? It's not going to be less than 53 million. It's going to be double or more. Otherwise, why would they even do it? I own a shitload of this company. I'll wait until however long it takes. But this company, my vote to Mark Jarvis in the group there was, don't give anything up cheap. It's taken this long. The nickel market is back above 8. You know, let's see what happens with nickel. There was a lot of sell pressure from the HPM dirty mines in Indonesia that were hitting the nickel market over the last 2 quarters. It looks like that is slowing quite a bit, and nickel has some air, some room to breathe. But look, $8, $9, $10 nickel, $10 nickel, I believe is the number. The NAV on Turnagain, a conservative NAV, is almost $500 million. Okay, so and then it goes up 120 some billion or 120 some million every dollar that that the nickel price goes up. This is Canadian dollars. We're trading at a freaking 13, $12 million US market cap. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke. It's a funny joke. The percentage of NAV that this thing will be acquired for, that's what you're going to model it on. I mean, it's trading at like, I haven't looked at the exact numbers, but let's just say we wait until nickel's back at 10, or when I talked about it at 10, I believe that was the main number for the NAV, which could be totally improved, by the way. Could be exploratory drilling coming, could be a lot high-grade targets, a lot of different stuff. Certainly, Giga has underperformed things like Canada Nickel, but I love seeing their success. They've attracted big money at premiums in the market. I think that Giga can and will as well. And, you know, we're trading for like, you know, 3% of NAV. 4% of NAV, something like that. Net asset value on the Turnagain asset with nickel. I might be mistaken. I'm using $10 nickel, and right now it's 8 and change. It could be a lower nickel number that I was actually referring to that NAV. But you know, this thing's a freaking, it's not only a strong buy, it's like a ridiculous buy, guys. So if you're sitting there with your hand in your pants right now, check yourself. I know a bunch of you are scratching down there, and you still own Giga at like 40 cents, 45 cents, or you bought it on that Mitsubishi news and got excited, and you only have a few grand in it or whatever you're doing, I don't know, buy a lot of it and get it under a quarter and just shut the fuck up and sit back and wait for the market to come to us. Last but not least, Phenom Resources. All I am going to say here, my friends, with the last financing that was completed, this is my largest position ever in my career. And I am willing to, well, I don't know if we could do this. Could we bet like, I was going to say a Canadian dollar, but that's not worth very much these days. It's even worse than the US. But I would bet a Canadian dollar. Any of you guys out there with your CEOs of your own public companies, or you're an investor in another Canadian public company, let's bet something that's legal. Maybe it's I don't know, some sort of a humbling act. If your company, I'm betting that Phenom Resources is the top performing stock in Canada in 2024. This right here, this little sideways action, guys, is called a ticker, a ticking time bomb that is it's already broken out its previous high at 35 in October. I believe, and we've got a golden cross in the chart, Phenom is going to do first stop. Let me show you what's going to happen. I think I'm pretty accurate on what I'm expecting, and it's going to be driven by, listen, vanadium's at all-time lows, doesn't matter. There are some very monstrous things that have been percolating at Phenom. I'm not at liberty to talk about them. I'm not even buying any stock here, guys. This has not been me. because I just don't want to trade as an insider, which, I'm not really an insider. Nothing has been announced or done. But I have 10.7 million shares in units of this company, and only a third of those are warrants. Two-thirds of that is my personal position that I own, and I'm underwater. I think it's 38 cents that I own that. So we're going to run into some congestion. Next stop is a double from here around 80. That's going to be a first stop, a first pause. Second run will be to $2. And then we're looking at something like this. I don't know what that's going to be, but that will very likely be something that we could see even this year, this summer, this fall, something quick, something very game-changing that could occur. If it doesn't, and I'm full of shit or whatever you think I'm doing to talk my own book, which I am, but I usually like to see people that actually have skin in the game, tell me about an opportunity. I don't get the whole thing. I mean, yes. So this isn't investment advice. I'm not your financial advisor. It's entertainment purposes only. Anything else the SEC and the TSX want me to say, I'll say it. Hopefully we have a lot of big boys and girls that know what the fuck you're doing here. Your stock can go to zero. Any one of these can. So can your bank, by the way, and your house and everything else. But for me and my purposes, this is information purposes only, entertainment, let's just call it, okay? But I don't usually look at my pocketbook personally as entertainment. Some of it pays for entertainment. I love doing fun things in Greece and going around the world and enjoying my life, but it's from spoils of paying a price in the market like we have. There's a lot of you that have a position in Phenom Resources. The thing that is going to be a challenge for new buyers is I believe that this float is well locked up. We have got this thing. Many strong hands own this. Rob McEwen's the second largest shareholder below me. I own about 8.5% of the company. He's around 8. And then there is just so much shit going on that I know Paul Cowley and the team have been working feverishly on over the last year they're like right before that point where everybody's going to go, holy cow, and they're going to start talking about these benchmarks, but they're not inked. The ink isn't dry yet, but there's many things that are going on there. We have such a good opportunity ahead of us with the core assets. Just the pivot, which is what they'll do. I think we'll see them announce permits being filed for Dobbin and Crescent Valley in Nevada. Much cheaper ways to drill for a brand new big monster gold discovery in Nevada under the guise of Dave Mathewson, who I am betting the ranch on the gold side. The vanadium side, all I'm going to say is that I believe that Paul and the group have been opportunistically looking to blow the pants off of the markets, even at $5 vanadium. If vanadium, God forbid, ever decides to go higher, and it will, this is a very interesting and very important metal, guys. National security, all that stuff. Grants, we're up for a 200 million grant and a $300 million grant. You might want to go dig through the conceptual grant detail news release and start to use your imagination. I'm not going to do a price projection. These are general areas that we've had a high here at 80 before. We've had a high at $2, just under $2. This stock has been to $2 2 times in 2018 based on an option for the Carlin Vanadium project. Do you know how much money we've spent and what has been done to develop this thing since then? $2 does nothing for me. Just so you know, you can't be calling yourself a Phenom corporation and only going up 5-fold in a bull market in junior miners where that's happening all over the place. I have much larger expectations, just so you know, and I don't even remain, I am more bullish than I've ever been times 10 on Phenom, just so you know. I don't like it because a lot of folks are going to start chasing this when we're running and it's in the dollars. We saw it happen that last time over here, telling people to buy in there and funding it. And then it ended up where some one of my people on the phone will talk about their cost average being like 90 cents. And I'm like, how the hell does this happen? Anyway, right now, for the sake of these three, our three biggest ones, I've got to say that I'm most bullish on Phenom by far. Giga is the biggest no-brainer cheap price buy at these prices. And McEwen just bought out Timberline Resources. They're starting to get on the offensive. That extends their gold bar mine. And they paid 18 million in stock for it. And it gives them some other very interesting assets in the Eureka Battle Mountain Trend area. And some of us have owned Timberline from back in the day. So that was a nice surprise, a big bump in valuation. I have millions of shares of Timberline that will go into MUX. I sold the free trading stock in Timberline, by the way, that I had yesterday when it went up 130%. And I'm glad they got that deal done. I congratulate both entities. And McEwen is a blue chip to own in the gold bull market, and we are in one, folks. Make sure you are paying attention, pay attention, and be doing one thing for me, if you will. If you do believe that, you know, I add any value in general, there were times in the crypto sector in Bitcoin, and you see it. Go look up the emails that I've sent out, even to the Gold Investment Letter free e-letter. I updated on Bitcoin a couple of times in Q4 2022 and Q1 2023, where I said that crypto had bottomed. Bitcoin was in the 16,000s, and I said it was time to deploy. And I told people on my crypto letter, phenomcrypto.com, by the way, deploy. We need to be deploying capital. Now it's time to be deploying capital in mining stocks, metals. Deploy capital. Take money from over here, put it in to this area. If you have to sell something to buy something, you make those decisions. My suggestion is go find some freaking fresh cash. I'm sure many of you can do that. Many of you have it. If you are a fund manager or you're a family office, you know, you're a ultra high net worth individual. I have 2 slots on my elite membership. We're doing deal flow. You get me one-on-one, and we're going to be doing bigger and better things throughout this bull cycle. The Gold Investment Letter's free e-letter is twice as large as it's ever been in its history, because we have been spending every penny that comes in over the last 15 months during the bear market to try to get those of you that were smart enough to sign up during a shitty market and recognize value, that you guys would be able to get seeds planted in this bad market and make the most money from the next bull market. I don't like to exploit. I'm going to continue to market the letter while we start to move higher. But when value is not so absolutely glaring, I'm not going to continue to build these letters. Same thing with the crypto letter, which has exploded. But, you know, I don't want to chase anything. Right now, there's going to be a point both here and as already has happened in crypto where it's like, look, time to take some trading profits, set some cash aside. Things are getting overheated. Imagine finally being able to do an update like that in the miners here soon. It's going to happen, guys. Make sure you're positioned. Don't cry over spilt milk on positions. If you don't like a stock anymore, or you don't like me anymore, sell the stock, unsubscribe, and just do whatever is best for you and make it happen. I'm personally, I feel like I've got one goal, 2 goals really, when it comes to business, and that is to help the loyal people that have been around me. And that includes those of you that after things got really bad when I was sick, and then we had this bear market go on and you stopped being an elite or a premium member, but you're still hearing this one on the free. I still appreciate you too. I mean, absolutely. And anybody who's stuck around through ups and downs with myself and the Gold Investment Letter, I have one goal, and that is to completely crush this next bull cycle in metals and mining stocks for us, to the point where you're going to benefit yourself, your family, and hopefully third-party initiatives that you decide to give some of this extra sauce away to. But I'm seeing it through. We've dealt with the main part of the suffering in this sector is behind us. There is a new bull cycle, but we haven't seen anything yet, guys. Get your seatbelts on, and please, please be deploying capital, even if it's in some of the blue chips. I love I-80 right now. That's one that's a mid-cap play in the $500 million market cap area that I've been buying aggressively. I still think First Majestic is way too cheap in the silver area, I-80 in the gold area. There's two for you guys that need to deploy bigger capital. Phenom, I'm hoping shocks the world in 1 to 2 months, or whatever, around that timeline. It's a world shocker, and the best performer in Canada is my hope and goal for Phenom Resources in 2024. That's how bullish I am. Giga, it's just value, guys. Buy some stuff when it's down. And it's an asset that is going to be in high demand, that is also cyclical, and it's an asset that's as developed and as big as Turnigan. You're going to be okay. This thing's not going to 5 cents, but it could go to $5. Have a good day. Cheers.